this is Erin and Simon with Assets and Arbitrage, and we have a guest or two, or three, maybe two and a half, maybe we're doing a quarter, joining us today. He's just gonna walk around. He's in a new place, y'all. Just pray for us. Simon has a show put together for you guys today named Structure and Responsibility.
So we have my good friend and a friend of the show, Randall McLeod. He is a colleague of mine, a firefighter extraordinaire. You know, we put respect on him. He is a travel SME, subject matter expert. And we have him on today just to chop up some good game. And, you know, that's what, yes, indeed. Thank you for being with us, sir.
No problem, no problem.
And so what I do want to say, you know, for my wife's sake, we're going to take respect to her father, Mr. Wilfred Archibald Ogle. And this is his anniversary of passing. So we are celebrating that. We're celebrating him this weekend, his life this weekend. So that is what we're doing this weekend. But, you know, so what's up, Randall? Randy, what's up?
Nothing much. Just spending the day here at work today. So you kind of got me off guard here, but I'm doing pretty good.
Game, man.
I'm doing pretty good.
It's gonna be nothing. Did you want to start, or how did you want to go in?
Well, I came across an article, which is how the show came up on Psychology Today, to where I think they're Gen Z, and the psychologists all over the world are building a profile on this unique new generation. And the profile is this. They don't want to work high-end jobs. They don't want to get married, or relationships are not important to them, period. They don't want to have children. And the overall overarching theme is they don't want to take on any responsibility. The fourth thing was the minimalism. They don't want to take on any responsibility, right? They want to simplify their life, and you get the sentiment of that. But the overarching conclusion that the psychologists are coming to is that unlike the boomer generation, this new generation, Gen Z, doesn't want to take on any responsibility, because a high-end job is a lot of obligation and responsibility. A structural job, which we're going to talk about, is a lot of obligation, responsibility, because typically when you have a structural job, people's lives are on the line. Randy's a firefighter. Simon used to be a firefighter. These are paramilitary jobs, police, the military, sanitation. A lot of the structural jobs, your electric company, a lot of these structural jobs are structural because if and when something goes wrong, someone can die, or there can be a lot of loss of life, just depending on what's going wrong. And this new generation doesn't want to take on any of these things. And it's basically us making the point about societal collapse and why it is going to collapse.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, because you work what I call a structural job, you know, and you have children, just like as I have children coming up in this generation. What do you think about that? I read a story about the Cincinnati Fire Department below 300. They needed 300 more firemen. So can you tell us about working a structural job and having a shortage of people who want to work these jobs?
Yeah, I can. One thing I have to say is, what is the one thing that everybody values today after everything that's going on in society? And that one thing is time. Yeah. Everybody values time. And this new generation, they have come to realize that they value their time more than anything in this world. Having these new adults that I have, freshly graduated from college, they don't want a 9-to-5 job. They don't want to go to work in a 9-to-5 job. They value their time. They want to have fun. They want to do things their way. So when you want that structure, they tend to kind of steer away from the traditional workforce that we see, that we were brought up to be in. and they want to do things their way. They look at YouTube videos that they looked at throughout COVID, and they found different ways to earn money. So as you're saying, why do we have a shortage in the Cincinnati Fire Department? Why do we have a shortage in the police department? Because this new generation has found other ways to actually earn a good income with social media, with their entrepreneurship, that they can earn just as much as money as me and anybody else out here without going into the traditional workforce. And they're sitting here like, I don't have to risk my life to make money like you did, Dad, or you did in in the past. So that's why they sat here and they listened to our arguments like, man, I wish I had more time to spend with the kids. I wish I had more time to, and they listened to those key words, time. So this generation isn't stupid. They're not ignorant. They actually are some brilliant, smart, intellectual kids that we might want to learn from them, because we're sitting here, stuck in this little box, and we sitting here going to 9 to 5s or working 24 hours off 48, wishing we had more time to enjoy life a little bit. Whereas our kids, they're sitting here on these video games or on social media making, $100,000. And I'm sitting here like, man, why can't I think like them? So it's a different world we're living in. And if you notice where society is going with this, the metaverse, with this non-realistic world that they're pushing for, with this artificial intelligence and stuff, you might want to jump on a bandwagon.
Yes, but the drawback to that, Randy, is in the real world, houses catch on fire. People have medical emergencies all day long, every day. Electricity goes out, the grid goes down. Your what is it? Your septic tank backed up. The water needs to be cleaned. There's too many sanitary items in you understand what I'm saying? Where you need
that is true. That is true. That it's going to be a lost art.
Right. There's no plumbers, there's no roofers.
But with that lost art comes a new generation of technology, if you see what I'm saying.
But the problem is the technology is moving faster than the physical world upkeep and maintenance is. That's the problem. There's
that's where that new price range of, oh, your toilet backed up, now instead of $100, it's $500. Oh, you need a new kitchen remodel, instead of $5,000, it's $15,000.
Because of the scarcity of skill.
That's where that technical aspect comes in. Now you see why the price is going up.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. And so we talk about this all the time. I don't know if are you familiar with the term called below replacement that they have going on in the I guess the Western world, where it says more people are dying than are being born.
Yeah.
And so so they're having a problem with things like we were just speaking about, the structural things, and people who do not want to do these jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all the way to Canada, what is it, North America?
North America, lots of Europe,
and Australia.
The majority of Europe is the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
Japan, they were sterilizing children in Japan.
Yeah.
Right, because of the population explosion. China, for a long time, you can only have 1 or 2 children. If it was a girl, it was a problem, and so on and so forth. So their collective consciousness now is, y'all didn't want you didn't want us to have kids, and now those children don't want children. And what happens is, with all of the technology that we have, not going to replace the structure of a very real world, and the disparity between the wealth and the not so wealthy, because you can see they're already knocking out the middle class.
Mm-hmm.
The middle class is being wiped out just financially.
Well, look what's happening here on home base, the abortion ban.
So what?
The abortion ban is happening here at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying, this new generation doesn't want to have kids, don't really want to have relationships. Well, they notice that somewhere down in the future, there's going to be a gap.
Mhm.
So now what? Like you're saying, I understand everything you're saying, but who's to say what are we to do?
That's the problem. We don't know what to do.
And I don't want to make it, I'm gonna just drop this in and we'll keep it moving. I don't want to make it, but they know by 20, what? 40,
I can't remember the number.
2040 something, I guess
Let's say 2050.
Hispanic population will be the what you call it?
They're gonna be the majority.
They're gonna be the majority.
For sure.
Because the white population is below replacement,
Mhm.
and you can't catch up because they had, what was it, $2 and a white picket fence.
Oh,
Well,
they had two
babies
children
and a white picket fence,
with
right?
2.5 children and a white picket
And
fence.
so because you did that, you got yourself below replacement, and you can't catch up quick enough. And you got people now who don't want to have children, and they just want to be single, and it's easier to live that life. And that's what we're going to get into next. But tell me about that, about people being single and easier to live that life.
People, I guess, don't want to be tied down. They find it
Uh-oh.
so much easier to be, by themselves or in a free spirited world,
Uh-oh.
just to, go mingle. I'm not really sure what the term is these days, the popular term, the more accepted term. But, to test the waters first.
Mhm.
So, especially if you're not coming to the table with anything. So people just tend to, have their social groups and friends with benefits and call it a day.
Now, we worked in healthcare for a long time, and I'm gonna tell you that's fun on the front end. It's not fun on the back end when people are sick. You're gonna get sick. Something's gonna go wrong physiologically with your vessel. And how many times have you been at a hospital or somewhere where somebody was dying alone or just sick by themselves? The whole staff gotta, feed them, clothe them, bathe them, keep them company, talk to them, make friends with them. I mean, all too often we saw that in the hospital, in healthcare. And then in the room next door, it's nothing but family members, right? So there was this huge where that person felt it. Do you know what I mean? They felt the loneliness because the person, well, this is back when they used to share rooms. They don't really share rooms much anymore. But when they used to share rooms, you'd have one side of the room chock full of family spilling over into the other person's room, and the other person didn't have a family member or a friend come visit them. In 2.5 weeks, they were admitted in a med-surg unit or what have you. Two, when it's time to go home for post-operative care and all of this other care that's needed, social work has to set up a very structural job of physical therapy, occupational therapy. The nurse got to come visit you. All these people have to come visit you because you don't have anybody there to really help. So I think, and this is why we're doing the show, is that not the millennials, the Gen Z. Gen Z is getting one beautiful side of this green grass, and they don't see that the grass is dead if you keep walking. You just got to walk a little bit further and you see how dead the grass gets. And it's one of the reasons why we're doing the show, because we notice that young people in general, we talk about 5-year plans, 10-year plans, 25-year plans. It's hard to see 5 years into the future. Teen 6, it's hard to see him at 11, right? Junior's 12, it's hard to see him as an 18-year-old because to us, he's still a kid. Yeah. So the mind, it's hard for your spatial intelligence to see that far in the future, much less you're 20 now, you're single, you're mingling, right? You're having fun, you're dating, you're here, you're not attached to anybody, you get to do what you want to do, you can eat ramen noodles if you ain't got no money. It's hard to see life at 40. You don't know that your knees are gonna hurt. You don't know your elbows are gonna hurt. You don't know it's hard to get out the bed. You don't know you ain't gonna be able to slide down that pole like you did when you were 18. Now, I don't mean the stripper pole, I mean the firefighter pole, y'all. Because I don't want any
Yeah, that's
emails
real.
from y'all.
That was real.
I meant the fire pole, not the stripper pole. But either or, right? 20 on a stripper pole, don't feel the same at 40 when your knees hurt, when your ankles hurt. So, I feel like there's not enough wisdom talking to the younger people about, I get how euphoric it sounds now, just wait.
Yeah.
There is no DoorDash to drop that mail off at your house, because guess what? Nobody wanted to do that job. We all wanted to be YouTubers. You kind of understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And other countries, we're seeing countries like Mexico, South America, Africa, they are not having those issues because of their status as an emerging market for Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexico is really your first world country. It's just, I think their GDP doesn't make it, but
it doesn't make it, but in the major cities, they would.
they have what it
qualify.
takes to
Yeah,
be
they
a
would
first world
qualify.
country. However, we roll around the bush. We're in the bush now. Structural jobs are integral and crucial and core to their economy. It's not in the United States.
Right.
Tiny home explosion. Have you been looking at
Yeah,
that?
we've been looking at that. Yeah.
It's dope. I ain't gonna lie, right? Simon Says, and he's like, "Are you watching another tiny home tour?" Yes, I am. I'm watching another tiny home tour.
Man, I'm a big dog.
What?
I can't fit in these little homes, man. I need room.
Can you climb that ladder into that nice loft? No.
I don't.
Are you able to climb down the ladder from the nice loft? If there's a medical emergency, now the firefighters who are pretty tall, pretty big guys, they gotta come all into the 6 of them, gotta come into this tiny home and get you out of that little loft into their ambulance and drive you to wherever medical emergency, whatever you got going on. And these are the things that I feel like, because the discussions aren't had, people don't think about that, like, oh, I never thought that the firefighters won't be able to get me out of my tiny home van. No, 6 of them can't fit in there. Only one of them can fit in there. And if you're overweight or morbidly obese, they can't get you out of there.
Yeah. We always make it work. I've been there, done that. We'd have made it work. Right?
I know, but it's manpower, it's time, and because it's taken so long to figure out alternative solutions, the clock's ticking. If you're having a myocardial infarction, every second counts. I can't get you out of this little van. We got to twist and turn and do this and do that to get you on the gurney. Just little things like that a 25-year-old doesn't think about until you're 45 or 50 and something happens.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, Randy, I was going to ask you, I'm going to do a hard pivot here, since you're an OG, triple OG like me. Been around the game. So I follow a guy, his name is Dr. Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he has, he's a clinical psychologist, and he has an idea or a theory that you as a young, he's talking about men, you as a young man should take on all the responsibility possible to help make you a better person throughout life. Now, you raised a family, you've been married, raised a family, like you said, raised them up to getting them out of college. What do you think about taking on as much responsibility as possible as these other people are trying to take on the least amount of responsibility as possible?
Well, I think everybody has a duty in the family structure. And, as a father, I had responsibility to do my job, and, their mother had her responsibility to do her job. And, the kids had their responsibility. I can't see saying take on as much responsibility as I could. I took on as much responsibility as I could handle.
Okay.
And then where I slacked off, I'm pretty sure that's where, the better half took up did what she had to do to make things work and make things happen.
Did you hear what you said though?
I can't say. I said the better half.
Your better half was able to take up where you could no longer handle. You're single. You ain't got no better half.
Yeah,
what you gonna do?
And we talk about this a lot. I always.
No, I'm saying if you're single, you don't have a better half to leverage.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
We're letting the chief in.
We're gonna let the chief in.
What do you do?
Yeah, so when you remember, there's certain games.
But if you're single, then it's only according to how much you want to achieve.
But there's nobody to backfill you.
This is true.
So, but your achievements is only as great as you want to be.
This is true, right? This is true. I see where you're going with that. And it's all psychological. The Chief, everybody say hi, Chief.
Go on mute. I gotta ask you a question. I just asked him.
This ain't what was it? No Man Monday or whatever the fuck it was. Or excuse me, I'm sorry. Are we allowed to cuss?
Nah, what I was saying is we were just talking, we was asking different questions, but I was telling him I follow Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, if you're familiar with him.
He's a clinical
psychologist. And one of the things he says is, as a young man, take on as much responsibility as you can, and it will build your character and make you a better person. And what would you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, because a lot of us, men, period, it don't matter whether you're black or white or Asian, it doesn't matter. As a man, the more responsibility that you can take on, it makes you, to me, I would think, now that I'm speaking from a 54-year-old point of view, it will allow you to have a broader outlook on life as far as knowing more and all of that. But yeah, the more that you can do at a younger age and learn more, the better off you are. Point in case, when I was growing up, my friends was at least 2 years older than me. And I used to hang out with like older people. And I used to get into places because they thought I was the same age as everybody else, because I guess I just looked old as hell. But, it allowed me to have a lot of useful knowledge. We joke around and say useless knowledge about like knowing stuff that you would do or you would know about like for a Jeopardy or some, but to me, knowledge is knowledge, whether it's pertaining to what a person or a group is talking about at that time or not. If you know it, you're better off knowing it than not knowing it.
And the reason we asked that question, I'm sorry, because we had an article that we were talking about with, I guess it was Gen Z's. People were being more like minimalist, and they don't want to take on responsibility. They don't want to get married. They don't want to have children.
And they don't want high-end
And then we also were talking about below replacement, because people don't want to have children. People are dying faster than they're being born, and then you don't have the people, because what I was saying is the structural jobs. We were all firefighter structural jobs. Like she's water, the electric grid, all this stuff. You need people to do those jobs. And then it becomes a negative feedback loop, because you don't want to have children, so you don't have that fire lit under your ass to go get a job. Remember that? We had kids. I mean, I had children early. It was a little fire lit under my ass. I got to go get a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't matter what it is. It don't matter what it is and where it's at. I gotta take care of my family. But that's breaking down in the Western world. So that's why I asked that question. I'm sorry you popped in, but what you got any good game to give us? What's up with the Chief?
Just like I was saying, it is what it is. As far as, hold on for a second, my sound's kind of jacked up.
Oh, no worries.
Let's go with transparency. There we go. And let me change this real quick. I'm sorry. What the fuck? Audio. There we go. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. Every time I do this, there we go. All right, say something, Gordon, so I can make sure I hear y'all.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, indeed.
Is Randy still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. You just frozen on our screen.
Wow. All right, there you go. It always take a minute for it to click in. Sorry about that.
No, it's no worries.
Yeah, so you were saying, I thought I answered the question though, man.
You answered the question. I just gave you the context on why I asked you the question. I ain't stop being so disagreeable. Where's my chart? I'm gonna draw a chart of disagreeableness.
And it's gonna have my face on it. Somebody got to be disagreeable. You can't just go along in life and agree to every damn thing. Shit.
I thought I was disagreeable. I was like, oh man.
You
But
are.
you-
You're highly disagreeable.
But
Highly.
I was just gonna ask Randy.
Sharonville fire,
But I'm saying-
baby.
But I'm saying
I said,
if you don't have any kids, then the only provider you have to be a provider for is yourself.
That's the
So-
truth.
So with this new generation, they're mostly concerned about is themselves.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
with
and-
our generation and older generations, like you were saying, Gordon,
uh-huh.
once we had kids, we had to become providers. So we
Yeah.
had to get out there in the workforce. We had to pick up a trade. We had to do something to start being a provider for our families.
Yeah.
So we had to provide for kids. We had to go support our families. Where this new generation, they worried about themselves for the most part. So,
a
you
lot
know,
of them, you're right. They are. And a lot of them are still at home being provided for.
correct. Yeah, that's a big one too.
Yeah. So, I mean, but it's a caveat to all things. It's a caveat to that. Okay. The caveat is the Gen Zers and even the ones before them, what, I don't know, why. Yeah, the Gen Y,
Mhm.
they see the world for what it is. They see capitalism for what it is. They see everything for what it is, and they see a fucking scam. Excuse my language, but they see a scam. And they see, like, okay, give you a prime example. My two youngest kids, Nakaya, she's 25, she'll be 26 in August. She got her degree, okay, at UC, same day that your daughter, Randy.
Mhm.
We was down at the same time, didn't even know it.
Mhm.
Graduated, got her bachelor's of science, bachelor's of science in marketing and some other stuff. And Gia was going to school for movie production, and COVID hit, and then all of a sudden it was just like it was part. I think it was part of the awakening, man. To be honest with you, we went through a shift during that time globally to where people saw things and felt things differently. And and Aaron and Gordon, y'all understand what I'm talking about. And some of the people who are going to view this understand it as well. They looked at Nakaya got her degree. Gia never went back. She started working and got her a managerial position, and she's going to just go from there. A lot they don't want to be tied with these mortgages when they get done with school, because on some real stuff, man, when if you don't have a scholarship, your school payment is going to be a mortgage. And then the rate of pay that they're going to get when they get out there, and it don't even matter if they have a doctorate degree, may not be able to keep up with the rate that they would have to pay back that loan or those loans for school. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I totally get it. I understand why they feel that way, and I understand why they would want everything now and all that. Well, we were sort of like that, but we kept stuff in a little bit more perspective because we didn't have all these outside influences, and we didn't have the now aspect. Right now, these youngsters, they can have access to everything right now.
And
Right
we
now.
talked about something. We talk about it all the time. It's a thing, and I was going to do a show on it, but Aaron told me not to. So I'll leave it alone. But it's called power laws. And they say the minority of the people do the majority of the work.
Yeah.
And they say the statistic is in Black community, 16% of men make 80% of the children.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's us. It's us. We out here. These people go walk around and live these lives that they live. Oh, I don't have children.
You want to say hi?
Bottom line, we are here to repropagate the earth, right?
Okay.
Put more people on this earth. You can live this life that you want. You don't want to have kids, fine. we'll have 4 or 5, 6 kids so we can repropagate the earth. Because one day when you're 70, the child who needs to be your doctor hasn't even been born yet. But you want to, nah, I'm telling you, and you know, I don't want to get too far into it, but you know, we're here to repopulate the earth unless we want the earth to go away.
Mhm.
You tell me.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just talking
Yeah.
about, the discussion is that you want this new generation to at least have both sides of the argument,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Talk about providing for children, but from a psychological standpoint, that child comes into the world to be your mirror and to make you a better human.
Yeah.
Children
Yeah.
hold your feet to the fire. They hold you accountable.
Yeah.
You have to keep your word. You have
Yeah.
to do what you say and say what you do. You have to be there. Their presence in your life is not just to take care of them. They
Yeah.
also psychologically take care of you. And you're talking to a mother of 4.
Yes.
Trust me when I tell you.
Yes, you
I
learn.
know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right? They're
We
little
already-
mirrors.
Look, we feel you on that, and we understand. The only thing that we can't understand about what you're saying is when you said, "I'm a mother of however many you said you were."
A whole bunch.
4.
I'm just saying,
Because
trust
you're-
me, right? I'm
Well, no,
credible.
Nah, it's just because you're a female, and you talking to 3 males.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he's a
but-
father of 4. He know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
No, but you're coming from a female perspective, just like he's coming from a male perspective. So he's gonna see stuff a little bit differently than you do. Y'all gonna be on the same page 9.5 times out of time, or 9.5 times out of 10. But as far as the viewpoints is gonna be different. Is simply because of the physiology of the beings that's talking about the same subject matter. That's all it is. So, you know, and you brought up a great point, Aaron. Our kids are here to be better versions of us, but they are also here to make us better.
Yep.
Yeah.
They make us better. When you have a kid, and Randy, you know, when you have a kid, you know you got to go get it. You know you got to do this, that, and the other. But what does that do ultimately? It makes you a better human being because you see things differently, because you're not just thinking about yourself, and you're not just thinking about your significant other or whether they're in the picture or not. You are thinking about that seed that you have now that you got to cultivate in order for it to flourish and grow into what you would imagine it to be. Because ultimately, they're going to grow and be the individual that they're going to be. The universe has already got that set. We're just trying to help them grow and try to steer them away from all the stuff that was negative that we went through.
Yeah, and you know, I don't want to make it too metaphysical, but and when you drill into it sometimes, and your whole family, you can see who older beings are as far as people who have been recycled to this universe. So
Yep.
sometimes your child might be older, an older being than you are, even though you're physically older.
Man,
We had a
absolutely
problem,
right.
man, with this dude stole some shit from me, and I went to see him, and he ran away, and his son was there, and I was gonna whoop his ass. I'm just telling y'all now, keeping it real. I was gonna whoop his ass. I looked at Sean. I said, "Can I whoop his ass?" He said, "No, Dad," and so I did. And he's my son, but he told me that's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
And you got sometimes you can learn a lot from your children.
yeah,
learn
you
a
can.
lot from your children.
Yep, you're absolutely right. You can learn a lot from your kids, man.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I would have felt the same way. I would have wanted to whoop dude ass too, but Sean looked at it like, you know, because no matter what, ultimately the person that stole that from you wanted to, I guess, felt like they needed it more than you or whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, that person, the kid that was there was not supposed to get what his father was supposed to get. So that's why Sean told you, like, don't do that shit. And he was right.
But Percy, you already know the sins of the father befall of the son.
Yeah.
So it was time. That was his son. It was time.
He was in on it.
It was time.
Nah, because it's
Son said no.
the son didn't take the shit from you.
But I'm
No,
just
he
saying.
wasn't on it. He wasn't on it. Yes, he was.
But I'm
Oh,
just saying,
was
the saying as it goes. And,
Yeah, I get it.
But my son told me don't do it and leave it alone. So I left it alone. You learn a lot from your kids, man. So that's what it was. But I just, what else did we have to talk about? That's
I
another
mean,
thing.
it's an interesting. I keep sitting down, y'all. I'm tired. I'm sorry. We had a long day.
It's all good.
The discussion is though, because you really want both sides to have both sides of the argument. You want this new profile that's developing. They're using it like an FBI profile. No, I'm serious, right? These psychologists are getting together. They published this article on Psychology Today because they're going to be, watching this generation for the next 3, 5, 7, 10, 15 years because they understand that society's collapsing.
Yeah.
And they want somebody to blame. They're not going to blame the corporations, right? They're going to blame the society that participated in the collapse. Even though, like you said, Grizz, to me, right, in this collapse is good because you are collapsing that fake scarcity that corporations create. You are collapsing the greed of high tuition. Why does tuition cost so much? That's ridiculous.
Yep.
These corporations that you got a bank account at this bank. If you ain't got no money in your bank account, I'm gonna charge you $35. That's crazy. I'm gonna charge you $35 every day until you put the money back in the account plus the 35 times whatever days that belongs.
That's how you get unbanked. You got a lot of people unbanked, I think, and they said in the United States, there's more people who are invested in Bitcoin than are unbanked.
Yes.
Because they moved out of the banking.
And you have 4.7 billion that exited the deposit system.
Yep.
This quarter, it's only June. This quarter because,
Second quarter.
Yeah, this quarter, second quarter, it's only June. Because of the lack of trust that society has in the banks. So again, right, there's good sides to part of that argument, that profiles argument, but we also want them to understand, like, if this is the choice you're making, just understand what your future looks like and understand some of the stumbling blocks that you're going to encounter in that future, right? Which, like we said, young people, they make decisions. It's hard to see 5 years out, just 5 years out, much less 10, 15, 20. When you're 20 years old, don't know what life is like at 40. It just seems like so far away from you. You don't know that you have aches and pains. Your brain feels 20, your body doesn't, right? And that's physically, even psychologically. We talk about people who have midlife crises and stuff like that. And it's just something that 20-year-old can't see or understand because what is that? What's your crisis? Why do you have a Lamborghini and you can't afford one? That doesn't make sense to me at 20.
Yeah.
I sold mine. So I had to get over it.
So, it's just, I don't feel like there's enough wisdom giving people all of the information. They're only giving them the information that they can profit off of.
Yeah.
And that's why we want to have the discussion, especially like for our kids. We're talking to them. They're bringing up the same things. And we're like, okay, you don't want kids because you're tired of helping your little brothers? Let me show you what your life's going to be like. It's going to be great first. On the back end, not so much. Right? You don't know that your friendship circle changes every 7 years. You think that your kindergarten best friend is going to be your best friend at 54. What if he or she passes away? They're not there anymore. Or you just outgrew them. Or maybe they outgrew you. Like, these are the little itty bitty. And that's why we talk about that OG, triple OG talk, because they are things in life that have to be experienced in order to be discussed. And we don't feel like our generation is talking to that generation. Everybody's like, this is their phone and this is everybody. And people aren't talking to each other. With all of the YouTube out there, with all of the social media platforms, with all of the talking, it's like the wisdom is not coming out like Like I personally think it should with
Yeah.
younger people. And we don't have access to younger people like we would like. This is about it besides our kids. So we just thought it was important to also have the other side of that argument. This is what society looks like. You're used to ordering DoorDash. Who's gonna bring it to you?
Yeah.
You
And-
like you don't have a car because you're minimalist, you're gonna take Uber. Who's driving Uber? That's a structural job. Who's doing it?
Yep.
Taxi cabs, we got rid of them when we brought on Uber. So you can't even fall back on that old structural system. And you start wondering what now they say driverless cars, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe, but what I'm gonna say is this.
It's coming. Ain't no maybe. It's happening.
I'm
It's
gonna
here.
get the back end. I'm
Go
gonna,
out.
I'm gonna bring it back around because all we trying to do is build some wealth, get some. We big on precious metals, Bitcoin, crypto. If you don't have children, you don't have a family. Eventually, you're gonna have to leave it to somebody.
That too,
And where's it gonna go?
right?
You're gonna spend your time building, buying Bitcoin and all these years, and then what happens? Where's it go? You don't have any children. It's gonna go to probate court, and then it's gonna end up just going to the state.
But if you
That's
don't,
that's if you don't have it structured properly.
Oh, you know they don't. You know people don't
because
have
they're
that
not
structure.
used to the structure.
They know, yeah. You got to have it structured. It's
You're not
very,
used to
it's
structure.
very precise. So yeah, you got to have it structured properly. I don't know, is it gonna go to your cats or something weird like that? But
No, it just goes back to the state.
yeah,
Look, if you don't, because the profile was you don't want a high-end job,
okay.
you don't want a relationship or
Okay.
marriage
Yep.
and children. When you pass away, where's your body going? You gonna let the state bury you?
Yeah,
Who's gonna take care of that?
nobody,
Who's gonna come to your funeral?
nobody. There will be no funeral. You'll
But I'm
be
saying that's what I'm
buried.
saying, because we're not thinking about if you get sick and you're in the hospital and you're unconscious and you can't make medical decisions, who's gonna make those medical decisions on your behalf?
Yeah.
The
so-
doctor, the nurse, and they're gonna do what's meant. You understand what I'm saying?
understand.
Like these are the things that younger people don't have on their mind because they're young people. When I was 20, I wasn't thinking about no DNR.
Nope.
I wasn't thinking about, hey, if something happened to me, I want to be cremated. I don't
So-
want to be in a coffin.
So what you think, Randy? I know, cause you're a married man and you have grown children. How do you see that playing out as we get older? Oh, good.
It's a lot of questions.
Life comes at you fast, and trust me, believe me, it comes at you fast. And you know, in those moments of when I say life comes at you fast, you do have to start thinking about all those things. And you know, when I lost my daughter, I didn't have all those things in place. And since then, I do have all those things in place. And it seems like we were saying, in the Black community, we don't have those things in place. And it seems like we only start doing those things when it's like, oh, it's upon us.
Yeah.
So, you're right, Aaron. We don't have those things in place, and we should. And you know, I talked to Grizz, and I talked to a couple other cats on a day in and day out basis about trust, wills, you know, a whole bunch of things. And you know, it's still a lot of work to go to and to do, but those should be topics that we are discussing, having with our children, our young adult children, because are we on their bank accounts? Do you know do they have a living a person, like if something was to happen to them? Because when my daughter passed, wasn't anybody on her bank account. So, you know, this money's still sitting there. Nobody even wants to touch it. So you have to have all that stuff in place in order to, so things will run smoothly. If not, it's going to go in estates or probate court. And then you and, in this case, it was my ex-wife, and I didn't even bother with it. My son didn't even want to bother with it. So you have to have all those things in place. Are there beneficiaries on our kids' accounts? Are you the beneficiary on their account, and vice versa? If you have young adult children, are they beneficiary on your accounts? So we have to have all those things in place. We have to have those, awkward, conversations, in case something happens to mom and dad, and it's something that I had to sit down and talk to my son about.
Yeah.
Even though it was awkward and, probably not the best of times to start talking about it,
Yeah.
it was needed to be talked about. So,
I mean, that's what it is.
it was what it was. So, that's what happened, and that's what happened. And, me and him made those little awkward trips to the banks and start filling out paperwork and got it done.
Yeah.
So,
the amount of time that it take you to get that done compared to the amount of time it takes for that shit to go through probate is night and day.
Yeah, it was night and day. Yeah.
Case in point, my neighbor, my backyard neighbor, he's a by trade, he's a what do they call it? A state lawyer. So he approached me one day and said, "Hey, I wanna do a will for your daughter with the baby, Nakaya." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "I want to do it for free, man, because just in case, anything happened, I want to make sure that, everything is, he don't know what she got." Yeah, he don't know what she got. But like I keep telling y'all, I told y'all too, Randy I tell him all the time, things happen for a reason. The universe is talking to all of us, whether we want to admit it or not. The day before he said that to me, me and Angie had just went to a seminar for another estate lawyer. And we were going to go with him, which is his biggest competitor. Came out of the blue, had no idea that I was his competitor.
He heard about it.
He said he didn't, and I believe him when he said he ain't.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Yeah. But he said, I said, man, that's funny because I was just with Barry Zimmer yesterday. He was like, oh, he started smirking. He's like, that's my biggest competitor. I was like, did you find out that we were there? He's like, oh no, I didn't know that you guys were there. He was like, I just been wanting to mention this to you. And now that, we talking, we go to the fence. We got a fence in between the yards. We talk right there. And I was like, well, I appreciate it. So it's the reason why we having this conversation. It's the reason why me and my neighbor had that conversation. It's the reason why we are talking about these certain things when it comes to finances, digital assets, estate planning, all of that. We are right now, I believe that the people that's in this Zoom, us 4 people, we are cycle breakers. Okay. There has been a cycle of mistrust, a cycle of unknowing, a cycle of abuse, a cycle of hurt, a cycle of hate. With the shift that we're going through, with the dynamic shift that we're going through now universally, when it comes to being in the age, coming into the age of Aquarius, the age of all knowing, we are cycle breakers. Whether people want to believe it's the ancestors, it's the universe, whatever, there are entities or an entity that is speaking through us, to us and through us, letting us know, hey, you got to get your ducks in a row. Okay. So I'm, right now, my biggest thing is to get next week, we're going to meet with him. We're going to finalize the trust. And after I get that done, I'm going to get with his associate. That's his friend. And he met me, came over to the house, walked through the backyard, and I'm going to get a trust. I mean, not a trust, but a life insurance policy.
Yeah.
And what I plan on doing, I plan on getting life insurance policies on myself, on Angie, and all of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
If it's gonna, look,
like
look,
you said,
look, everybody that's, I'm sorry, Gordon, I don't mean to step on you, but everybody that's listening to us right now, whether it's live, pre-recorded, whatever, if it is good enough for the Rothschilds, if it's good enough for the banks with bank-owned life insurance policies, BOLIs, if it's good enough for them, it's what we are supposed to do. It's just things that we aren't told to do in order to secure our family and our family's wealth. And I'm breaking the cycle. I don't care. I'm breaking it. I don't give a damn. I am breaking the cycle because it's what I manifest and it's what is supposed to happen. Because when we go all the way into the new age, I want my seeds to live a lot differently than I did because one, they're going to have to because the world's going to be different. Two, I don't want them to be behind a brick wall. I want them to be over that brick obstacle, and I want them to be either ahead of the pack or right up in the front row with them so that they're not missing anything. What a trust will allow me to do is stipulate how things go.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna get a ton of money, because let's be honest. Let's be honest, y'all. It's hard to concede it with me. On some real shit, we're gonna be some wealthy individuals with these digital assets that we are partaking in, because this is the new quantum financial system that's coming into play right now. We are at a time in history of this planet. We are at a time to where this is very exciting. It's something that's phenomenal, I think, because the financial system is shifting. And if we get ahead of it, or if we get right up there with it, we will prosper like the people in the last one did. Except for the last one, it was a bunch of old ass bankers manipulating things. And that's what they're doing right now. That's why it's taking so long, because the banks are trying to get ahead of it so that they can have a majority stake in it. What's going to happen? They're going to be the on roads and the off roads. They're buying up the exchanges right now. That's why those banks that went down, the Silvergate and SVG and the other ones, those weren't conventional banks. Those were crypto banks.
Yep, they were technically.
It wasn't just a savings and loan. It was a crypto bank. That's why they went down. That's why they took the mugs down. They're like, wait a minute. We're the big boys. We're going to have to do this. We've been handling the financial system for these amount of years, and this is it's going to be. Now, I'm telling you, it's crazy. But as long as we get our ducks in a row and because I'm long-winded and I apologize, but as long as we get our ducks in a row and we get the assets in place and the protections in place, I think we can be fine.
Yeah, you just got to protect the wealth as you build it. We still tell people, and we quote you. We put our pennies where they put their dollars.
Yep.
You see where the money is moving.
Yep.
Follow the money is a thing that we call out. But I didn't know if you had something to say. Okay, yeah. So I always tell the chief say, put your pennies where they put their dollars. And that's what we do. That's what we tell people to do. We're not financial advisors or anything like that, but we put out good game for the family just so they can have an idea on, man, I can do this, I can do that, and all that, and just building up,
Yeah.
And that's what it is. That's what it is. We build for the family, and I can't really say too much more. Can't say
Build
too
for the
much
family
more.
in the future. Yeah, the family in the future. That's what we're building for.
Yeah.
Because family is our future.
That's it. That's it. It's I used to watch a movie. I don't know. This might be a reach. I don't know but I'll go there anyway. I've been sipping on tequila. So sorry, y'all. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie The Prestige. You ever seen that?
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, I remember seeing it.
Yeah. So what's his name? He couldn't see.
Are you talking about?
He couldn't see the end.
Christian
Bale. Yeah.
He couldn't see the end, the prestige, if you will. We won't see the end. We gotta be okay with not being able to see the prestige.
Yeah.
Right? If 2 generations from us doing well, blowing up, silver done went to 4 digits, Bitcoin done went to this and that. We won't see it, but we got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Everybody want to see it now.
Yeah, but that comes from having children and that natural sacrifice that comes with having children. You don't have a natural sacrifice when you are single.
Oh boy, she says she's gonna bang down on single people.
No, I'm not banging down on the single people. No, I'm serious. I don't think that they have enough information.
Okay. They don't.
They don't.
So that's
we know they don't.
It's for somebody with a husband, you know, I was telling Simon the other day is that the squeaky wheel, why are we so dark? Where's the light?
I
The
didn't bring,
squeaky
I'm sorry, I didn't bring my
We
light.
didn't get our, we didn't bring our ring
Y'all,
light.
y'all on y'all computer?
Yeah, we're on the Mac.
I didn't bring the ring light.
But the squeaky wheel get all the oil, right? Them other 3 wheels, they rolling.
That's what
not
they say.
having no problems or nothing like that. So with marriage, everybody gets all of the bad stuff that come with marriage because the people who are unhappy in marriage are out talking.
Yeah.
Right? He did this, she did that. And these kids, I did a 23andMe and none of the 4 children are mine, and this and that and the third. And that's all you're seeing on social media. Happily married, or when I say happily, I want to say functionally married people don't get on social. It's boring, right? Simon and I, we sit in the house, we go grocery shopping, we're going to Home Depot. It's boring. You and Angie had dinner on the deck. It's boring. Now you went to Egypt with your wife. That's exciting, right? So I can hit you with the boring, but under normal circumstances, y'all at home, y'all go to the grocery store, you cooking dinner, you cooking breakfast. Children got to go to urgent care. You got to run up to college because she need money, you know, dad, drive me to work. It's boring. It's absolutely boring. And not in a bad way,
No,
right?
okay, yeah.
Not in a bad way.
Thanks for saying that, because
But
it's
not
perspective.
anything to build social media on. So all people are getting is, I don't want to be married because I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? Married people don't deal with that. But you don't know that because you're only hearing the unhappily, maybe married, maybe divorced, maybe separated people, the squeaky wheel. You're only hearing the squeaky wheel. You ain't seeing them other 3 wheels rolling, taking on the load of the car and so on and so forth. I feel like this generation isn't getting all of the information. So I don't want single people to think that we are banging down. We are saying that society has this agenda. So the propaganda that they push, right? We can't always run after.
Yeah.
Right? I talk about feminist talking points. Black women, y'all can't run after that. Stop it. You cannot have those talking points. You shouldn't be running after none of that. Because she's gonna go home to her husband at the end of the day.
Yeah.
She's gonna continue to make 65 cents on the dollar while you make 45 and the black man make 29.
Because
Okay.
that movement wasn't ours or wasn't Black women's in the first place.
To take up, baby, you can have your spot.
Oh, I'm sorry, I went over to the spot.
But I'm just saying that some of the propaganda that society pushes, we can't run after. And that's why, you know, I told someone, I said, I'd like to do the show because I'm reading this and they surveyed a whole bunch of people. They went to Japan, they went to the UK, they went to somewhere in, I want to say Denmark, right?
They went to most of you.
United States. So they're doing surveys, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people who are saying life is more meaningful without somebody in it. That's a lot of people in each country. So 2,000 times each of those countries that I named, that's a lot of people. A lot of young people who are 18 to 23 that don't know that life may be more meaningful now without somebody in it. You're 23. I want to talk to you at 53.
Yeah.
How meaningful is it now?
Well, see, but that's
I
the
want to
thing,
talk
though.
to you when your body is nesting, women, right? Your body at some point is going to start to say, we want children, and it's too late. That window done shut on you. I've talked to women who've said, yeah, I didn't want children when I was younger, but I'm 50 and I froze my eggs. I'm trying to do IVF. I'm trying to do this. You're spending a whole bunch of money. And it's like, why? Well, I didn't want them. I get it. You don't want kids at 23. I completely understand it. But now that the window's shut, that's a regret that you live with now. Yeah. So if you had the information you had now, hindsight 2020, would you have made a different decision? And maybe not. Maybe you'd have been like, nah, I think I'm good where I'm at. And you might be.
Yeah.
But we worked in healthcare. We're looking at the structure outside. When your roof collapsed from hurricane, whatever, because you live in the Florida belt, who's coming to fix your roof?